So it's my understanding that, of course, if I still want to be involved, within the product, but self, WWE or professional wrestling in general, I like there, definitely in some way, into some capacity. I feel like just like what we are with here today when talking about championships. The championships within Triple H's current regime of WWE and things among that nature. I feel like if I'm going to be as close to keep a analyst on current professional wrestling today, I feel like I said, in some aspects, this is how I do it. If I'm not going to be talking about it when it comes to the product 24/7, then in some ways this is what I'm going to be doing. And here we are with the championships. And I know, like, I also, like, when it comes to just it also gets increasingly, as you have more people start to, of course, come into the space. But I do want to stand out. I want to, at least 10 steps ahead from everybody else, and at least be unique and different from that. Like I said, as I'm working on that, to not repeat myself, and I just want to be more specific, which is why you're gonna see me compare and talk about more outside of things about professional wrestling, as far as like creating a metaphor and really like using examples, and also what current mediums are also going through, what professional wrestling, or in particular WWE and AEW are going through right now when it comes to the quality of that, of their particular products, and everything that goes beyond that when it comes to the wrestlers, the storytelling, the in-ring aspects, the stuff like that, themselves. Okay, yeah, and for me to get started into that, I wanted to make kind of like a bullet point of that. So yeah, like I want to be distinct when just be distinctive when I really go into that. So like I said, we're here when we talk about championships in Triple H's regime, his version of WWE. I mean, if you and I feel like I would have to really get it started off, I don't think I went that much into it to really get an aspect. I know I just because I did make a post about Undertaker also just now, and I was doing those whole series of posts toward Halloween when I was like talking about specific characters. I didn't really get to make one. The final one was going to be about Taker, being that he's like the ultimate character, and how people look to how such of an inspiration he's been looked up to in the business, and just how that much of how when you talk about, especially guys, we talked about guys like a Bray Wyatt and as such, that's how much of a big inspiration, and how much how Taker had on the landscape of pro wrestling. And just how guys, and just how a certain level of talent looked up to him. But yeah, but I did create a post on Undertaker, and yeah, to really like bring up and what I was doing with a series. I mean, you look at Corey. I mean, I don't know, probably some of you, but especially these days, like I feel like when you talk about movies and particularly the horror genre, where when you go back to especially the real early 1900s, where you had it was like first you had because that was the whole big thing going around, where people were such enamored with you had this is why I like, because I like going back, and I really like my old movies. It's because, or really entertainment, because it's like each generation has their own distinctive aspect about them. Like I said, of course. So with horror, it's like you had classic monsters. How Universal was so big and popular. That's like one studio that was really big and popular around that time, because they had Wolfman, and of course Frankenstein, and the Mummy, and there's so many characters. Dracula. It's like so many characters that people really embodied, and you like, of course, I think you got to like a more Pacific time when you had like disasters and also like sci-fi, and of course you get to the 70s and you get the 70s and the 80s where you had the occult, demonic, demon possessions and everything, and also and slashers when you talk about Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Chucky and Pinhead and all like. I said I said this is why I got really like, cause like it kind of like in a way like Professor X too also, because you had by that point slashers was really out, like it was really like repetitive by that point, because you of course are like, and then you get to like because Wes Craven was one of like the classic directors, and he gets to like the real mid to late 90s where he was like he pretty much like reinvented the slasher. They like he was like reinventing the slasher genre when he had created the Scream franchise with Ghostface, and like that, like, oh man, it's just like that. Of course, that you before you had went back to repetitiveness again. And like like we're wrestling in a sort of way to where the same thing where you had like first, so of course you had what Vince was doing with the WWE, and he was trying to take it to the mainstream. He was trying to take professional wrestling to the mainstream. And you had 80s where you had a certain level of entertainment about the 80s, and where you had guys like, of course, like Hogan, where the guys that looked like as if they were superheroes straight out of a comic book, and they looked like felt and breathed and looked like it. You had guys like Hogan and Warrior and Andre the Giant and Macho Man, Rick Rude and Mr. Like really distinctive. Of course, when you get to the same thing about, I said, other media like music too, where you had like pop, disco, and pop music, and just starting off with like other forms like that, the rock, and then when you get to like the 90s, where you had, of course, say like the same breath of the birth of the Attitude Era, when you add in that same era, where they call it like the rebellion, really like a grudge, like that's where that had pop culture at the time. And I guess the really like distinctive that I'm trying to make, and of course when you get the cuts, like I said, it's like because I heard like it's like like the championship too. It was like a hot potato, and then not even that. Like I mean, championship. You did have championship reigns. I don't know. Even in the 90s, I don't even know. Like I mean, of course you had like because I feel like even long reigns were like kind of really a risk to take at that point. But like I guess, especially like when you get to the Attitude Era and you had so many guys too, and just the level of content and that you could produce, I felt in a way that it just like also it just like felt in a way to where it's like where it just felt like a gladiator type of like where you just had all these guys fighting over the championship, and because you already because like it's like, well, I have a long reign because you had a lot of guys too that just like like as I said at the time, like a Rock and Austin and Taker and Shawn, and just they has that you really just got a lot out of them and enjoyed all of them because they were so entertaining. You were so engaged, and you like, and just people felt enamored with them at the time. So, and that's where I just like, of course, like where it's just like, so I mean, it didn't things like long reigns, or if they really mattered or not. You did you really care? Because let's say especially the talent at the time, to where, I mean, like I said, where like the storytelling and the characters and everything else mattered more. And like of course, when you get to today, to where not only do the reigns mean absolutely jack shit. I mean, like there's nothing about, nothing is done to really like tease you or to really force you to give into the what am I missing out on? To have you say that what am I missing out on here exactly? I mean, you have nothing like, and that's where I get back to where it's like, because you did have those long sorts like, and not in a sense to where, of course, but like more so like guys on top, because they had their specific times, like back again, like because you had Austin that, well, Hogan that, yeah, really soft set and like really made two generations really big on his own back. And you, like I say, you get to Austin, to where of course his popularity soaring through the roof, and of course Rock also, and just like of course the OVW, the four, guys like Orton and Cena and Brock Lesnar and Batista. You look at where they're all at today, and how big of talents and megastars, how they are right now, their positions, and where you see where they're at today. And I mean, man, it's just like you really like you just really, like, especially if you were there, you had to really see the growth. Just you just completely like blown away about that. So like I said, like we're like, it just felt like more so what mattered to you at first. Like, and yeah, like that's why I said, yeah, like the Reign, like also like because you, like I said, the guys, because that was also more of the fact too. Of course, like I said, when you had Triple H, to where of course his Reign of Terror and everything, where that and stuff like that. Well, yeah, like, so I don't feel like, because it's not like we had, even if you did, because you still had a good one, still, of course, like the whole thing with, and like with the modern era too, like, of course, like, even like, not only, of course, I guess, I feel like, I bet people probably still remember when you talk about CM Punk's long reign, but, yeah, which was incredibly fucking, amazing. Even though they kind of fucked up on it a little bit, but well, still fucked up to be general. But yeah, like I feel like, of course, the perfect example today would be Roman Reigns is complete, fast tracked, yeah, just complete and unbelievable tyranny, just iron fist of Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, of his current rule. 4-year reign on the in the WWE, or just like on a professional wrestling in general. I think that would be the perfect example, obviously, of how you do it. And that wasn't Triple H. That was all because of a certain of course, as always, that was because that was because of a certain somebody, which refers to Vince McMahon himself, and of course, pretty sure a few other people involving Paul Heyman as well, and Roman Reigns himself, to include him. But yeah, I like definitely, of course, especially like this year. If this year didn't tell us already, what, yeah, like true, like this was a perfect year for Triple H to go out there and say, oh yeah, like for him to say, this is what the fuck I'm gonna do. I'm taking control now. This is my version of the WWE, and we're truly taking the WWE, if not and professional wrestling in general, into the modern era, into a new generation and beyond. And I'm still waiting on that. Aside, like I said, whether you want to be a fanboy or not, aside from the fanboys, aside from the completely moronic IWC, the E-bots, whatever you want to, the drones, whatever you want to refer to them as, people if you actually appreciate professional wrestling for what it is, you actually you have the the appreciation. I say that Triple H has not been doing a damn thing for the WWE. Like in his complete bastardization of himself and trying to be the WWE version. If it's not Tony Khan with the wrestling shit, it's 24/7, and just like the complete black mockery of promos and everything else. It's like him trying to be Dana White. of the it's like it's just it's oh my it's fucking it's cringeworthy, to be honest. It is, and you see it too. I do see it, like just him trying to complete imitate Dana White, and it's just like no, it's not gonna work. And you like because like you are also already see just another also what you see with the UFC and MMA kind of getting to its own point to where it's like people really are starting to fall out of love with it because it's also being corrupted by greed. The quality is going down, and you don't really it's not really where it was at. It's starting to heed its also its own repetition of people really getting just really being fed up with it. But like yeah, I mean, I said because you can really talk about anything, and if I could probably another just look at like I said, it's just like every other just what I mentioned up to at this point, and if I could throw I guess to really like if I could say a little bit about when you get to like hip hop, I was really a big fan. I like absolutely just like I probably still do because it like also, but of course, growing up was a giant fan of hip hop. Pretty sure like it's not any stranger to anybody else too. That's also a fan of hip hop. That pretty much all of us I think at one point, and it's where you really had like people that really just had their own unique character about them, and you had their own style. When you talk about guys like Eminem, even girls also too. Like when you say like, especially how Nicki Minaj really like set a precedent and really became like a really like a world of her own, right? But like like when you talk about people like such Eminem and Snoop Dogg, and Eminem and Snoop Dogg and DMX and Nas and Jay-Z and I say even guys like such as that too, like just really also too old guy like LL Cool J and NWA and like still also like Ludacris, like damn, like you like when you get to the nitty and then you just get to where today where it's just like I mean you still have a few like when you talk about like Drake and Kendrick and J. Cole, but like who is like who is out right now that really defines what it means to be an MC, a rapper, what it really is to means what hip hop is actually about, that really defines hip hop. Who represents that today? It's like the same thing with professional wrestling. Who really represents a generation aside from the fact, of course, that we already had that Roman Reigns, but who really going into the future? Like when Roman Reigns is officially and some all other is officially done, who is gonna represent? Who really represents professional wrestling today? Like Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Adam Page. That only recognizable because of a few thousand people that are really only recognized by them. Are you serious? And it's just like what like when you look at like people holding such as the championships about that really doesn't have any world appeal, even the championships, because they used to have, not anymore for that matter, they used to have a worldwide appeal about them, well, because of the person that was holding it. Does that really matter anymore? I mean, does it? It's really the big question when you look at not just just professionalists, not just Triple H's regime, but like professional wrestling in general. Why should you care to begin with when you're really not going to get anything out of it? It's just the honest truth.